Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. This is a support group requested video, and I will be starting off that playlist with this first upload right here. And for anyone else that's on a support group and who has suggested a video that I have not already addressed, or basically on a topic that I have not already addressed, I will be uploading that video under that playlist, support group requested videos, okay? So that you can easily find out if I've gotten to your video yet. And for the rest of you who do not know what I'm talking about, I do have a support group on Facebook, Lakia Reflection and Progression Crawford. I do tend to mention this support group at the end of all of my videos, and I also provide a link below all of my videos where you could easily join the support group. And the support group is for survivors of narcissistic abuse, okay? So on the support group, definitely we share information, we uplift one another, we have fun, laugh, all of that good stuff. And they can inbox me at times, and they could also definitely make suggestions on video topics. All right. So this one right here, the question is, when will this pain end? I'm 100% no contact. Just need like a shot of something to take this edge off. Like I'll be doing fine. Then out of the blue, the tears come. God. So this survivor is still healing from the hurt. I have made 2 other videos that are very helpful with the emotional pain, which turns into the physical pain and drains us, right? And those 2 videos are understanding what healing from a trauma looks like, realistic expectations after narcissistic abuse. That's one of the videos, and understanding recovery after narcissistic abuse. And I will leave those 2 videos below the description of this one. But, when will this pain end? Honestly, there isn't a set number or a blanket number that I can give to all survivors to say, hey, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, a year and a half from now, you're going to hit what I would call your sweet spot. And the sweet spot is basically when you're definitely having more good days than bad days, and your triggers are very minimal or basically non-existent. And when you think back on a situation, it doesn't have this extreme emotional effect on you. Okay? So depending on how far you are from starting that no contact usually indicates how potent or how, emotional you will still be about the situation. And that's typically a rule of thumb. I can say that generally speaking, most survivors tend to hit their sweet spot around 12 to 18 months post no contact. 12 to 18 months. And I know that might seem really far for someone who may be on day 1. This is typical. It's not, 100%. So is it true that someone could be 6 months out and hit their sweet spot? It's possible. It's not what typically happens. It's definitely a process. It's a process, because what we have to keep in mind here is this was a traumatic experience. So healing from a trauma and healing from a regular breakup, are apples and oranges. There's a whole lot more elements that are involved here, a whole lot more work, a whole lot more offenses and abuse that's taken place. Okay? And that's what makes it take a little while longer, because there's a lot for us to process and a lot for us to heal from and make our peace with, so that we can then release, and let go of the resentment, let go of the bitterness, and let go of the hurt. You really can get to a place where you will be all cried out over a situation. Yes, that happens. But in these type of situation, it takes some time. It takes some time. And honestly, with a trauma, it's not uncommon to be in a pretty good place. And every once in a blue moon, you may have an emotional moment. And perhaps it was a trigger or something triggered you back into that place. And it's a temporary hit to your emotions. You release, you have that cry, and you feel better, and you go on about your day, but it's not devastating you. But these are normal occurrences when you have a trauma. You hear a lot of us in the community when we talk about narcissistic abuse, we describe it as a soul rape. A soul rape. That's incredibly penetrating. That is incredibly, how deeper can you get to a person than to their soul? Okay, so we have to be really gentle. And no, I can't give a date to when the pain will end, but I can tell you, what's going on around the time when we feel like we've elevated or we've progressed in the healing process to where you could sit and talk about it without falling apart, to where you're not depressed over it, to where you're living your life, where you are feeling happy again and you're smiling and vibrant. These are indications that, your pain has ended, obviously. But that just comes with doing the work. It comes with doing the work and going through the purge. And I say this oftentimes, but yes, it will tend to feel worse before it will feel better. It will tend to feel worse before it feels better. Because this type of abuse opens up a whole lot of cans of worms, and most of the time it expands well beyond that actual relationship. Yes, all these things have occurred within the relationship, and then as if that wasn't devastating enough, then we find out there are other connected things that are going on with that, like our inner child. It brings up things within ourself and our shadow work that needs to be addressed. So there's a whole bunch of layers, and it can feel like a mountain of bricks falling on you. So as you lift each brick off of yourself, you're going to feel lighter. You're not going to feel like things are caving in on you anymore. But I do want to commend this survivor for being 100% no contact. And I also want to reassure the survivor that, it's normal. It's normal to, when you have a trauma, to have that once in a blue moon that can happen when you can be triggered emotionally. Okay? And that's why you're saying, I could be doing fine, and then out of nowhere, the tears come. Because that person really hurt you to the core. And it devastated you. And it's never going to be okay that they did it. You're never going to say, well, it was okay that they disrespected me on the highest level and took me for granted and abused me in every way possible. That's never going to be okay. In your spirit, is something that you can never forget. It's something that you can never forget. But with time, we can release the pain. We can release anger that's centered around it. And like I said, bitterness and resentment. But for most survivors, this takes at least a year. It takes at least a year. Typically 12 to 18 months is what I'm seeing as a pattern. Okay? Typically 12 to 18 months. And this is if that survivor is actively being proactive in the healing process and doing things that will help them actually heal. and not doing things that are counterproductive or that will keep them stuck. All right, this is a survivor that's not resisting letting go, not resisting the endings, not resisting doing the work and the shadow work, not resisting changing their perceptions from the unhealthy to the healthy. Okay, so, maybe I couldn't give you a specific number, but I always like to keep it real. I always like to keep it real. It's going to vary person to person, okay? But if you do feel like you are stuck in the healing process, I highly recommend that you don't go at it alone. Talk to a professional or someone that understands narcissistic abuse so that you can get yourself to the next level in the healing process. Okay? And I'd also like to insert in here that a lot of times, these type of triggers could be an indication of PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay? Because after someone experiences a trauma, it is possible that they could develop that post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's typically centered around triggers, that take your emotions back to what you were feeling when you were experiencing the abuse. Okay? So it's possible that you do have some PTSD going on as well. And the whole idea of getting control over that would be realizing what your triggers are, managing them down to eliminating them. Okay? All right, so I hope that this really helps. God bless you. Hang in there. I've been there and I understand. I understand. Trust me. I really understand. I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for survivors because I firsthand understand this. I have been there. I have been there. Okay? All right. Keep doing the work. And please, until next time, please take care.